How does TRT or testosterone replacement therapy or even testosterone affect the production of muscle mass or the preservation or the anabolism behind muscle mass? We're going to discuss it after this, so keep watching. And don't forget to watch until the end of the video, because we will be discussing what the truth is behind testosterone and the ability to build muscle. I'm with Dr. Touliatos. So a little bit about Dr. Touliatos, if you didn't know who he is. Dr. George, he's known as one of the leading experts in TRT, HRT, and anabolic steroid harm reduction. So it's all about reducing the risk and harm for some people. Dr. George is a biopathologist, MD, specializing in medical prevention. And he used to be a former competitive bodybuilder, and he's from Greece. So Dr. George is medical contributor for the Anabolic book, the 11th edition, and Muscular Development magazine, where he has a regular featured column. And he's written 2 books, both in Greek and in English. So it's good to have you, Dr. George.
Hello, Michael.
So on this topic, I mean, look, we're at the Arnold. The Arnold is a sports competition for the most muscular physique, and you competed in this as well. And, you know, we're saying that testosterone is the hormone that makes a man a man, and part of that is more musculature. Many young men are looking through Instagram and other social media about building muscle. But does testosterone help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Even though testosterone is considered as the major anabolic, as a major androgen, is considered as an androgen that substitutes exogenously the lack of testosterone when there's a hypogonadism. It has also anabolic activities, and it has also the best ratio between 1:1 between anabolism and anabolic and androgenic index, okay? Besides, testosterone is capable of aromatizing to estrogen, which is also a fundamental hormone for proper mental health, bone health. Testosterone now is used by bodybuilders to increase the anabolism along with the anabolic steroids. So in every cycle, you have 2 main categories, classes of steroids, the androgens and the anabolics. The androgens have certain properties, burning fat, increasing strength, giving aggression, that is very basic for the training, okay? And the anabolic steroids have implementation in medicine, but also they build tissues, connective tissue, like in burns, for instance, recovery in trauma, but also under abuse and superphysiological doses rather than those that are prescribed.
All right, George. So I just want to clarify for the audience. Now, in the past, I was on that Talk TV and the terrible article from the Daily Mail, and they tried to conflate and confuse
the replacement therapy
with Love Island body and steroids. So for the purpose of this video, we're just exploring the topic of the molecule testosterone,
separating
the science behind the testosterone, and what it does to the body.
Well,
so
testosterone can increase anabolism, okay, but it's an androgen. So that's why it's fundamental in hypogonadism, because it has androgenic properties, okay? Yet, it has some anabolic activities, and under abuse, it can build tissues. The point is, testosterone replacement therapy is about optimization and not blasting, not superphysiological doses that have the plethora of the side effects. Because we know if we abuse testosterone, it will lower HDL, it will increase hemoglobin, it will increase estrogens that will lead to dyslipidemia, gynecomastia, and increased viscosity. However, the TRT is about longevity, okay? But in bodybuilding, obviously, they abuse it. Now, the misconception with endocrinologists is that usually the TRT users are people who care a lot about the way they look and their body composition. Yes, and this from a perception comes because a great pool of hypogonadic men are former bodybuilders that crash their HPDA. However, this is not necessary, and there's a percentage in the society of men that have low testosterone without using any other steroids. Frankly, people who are caring about the way they look are more likely to train, okay, and to consider
So-
using testosterone rather than sedentary people.
Why beat around the bush, right? We know that when we get older, we lose muscle mass.
Yes.
Okay, this is a
Muscle wasting
medical.
cachexia
It's a medical condition.
that leads to visceral fat and inflammation is the process of low testosterone. So we have to admit, on behalf of the, apart from this, we have also osteoporosis, osteopenia, and bone fractures because the stronger the muscles, the stronger the bones. They are attached.
And even anemia if you're
Anemia,
low
also, and
testosterone.
fatigue. Yes.
Again, as you can see, there's this demonization, and
Because
so
they don't know the fundamental role of testosterone and they demonize it because of the misconception that it's an anabolic steroid. It's an androgen. It's an androgen with anabolic properties, okay?
fine.
So first of all, that's why you don't give anabolic steroids to hypogonadism. We give testosterone because it's the androgen, and the basic androgen, actually.
And it
We don't
converts.
give DHT or DHEA in first place. We give testosterone in first place because it's an androgen. In Klinefelter, you give an androgen, which is testosterone. In Kalman, you give an androgen, which is testosterone, okay?
But couldn't you also argue because you are giving testosterone, you've got the conversions, the aromatization into
This is
estrogen.
fundamental. This is necessary. We need estrogens.
Right, but you need estrogens and you need DHT. If you were
Yes,
to use
exactly.
an anabolic
It splits in
steroid,
both. Yeah.
you wouldn't get those metabolites. So it's very
Some
important
of them,
metabolites.
No, they don't aromatize, okay? And you cannot live without estrogen.
Well, they aromatize into their own, or they metabolize into
If
their
you
own
use the DHT
metabolites.
derivatives, anabolic steroids, or DHT synthetic, you don't get estrogens. This is not cool for the man.
But the body needs testosterone, estradiol, and dihydrotestosterone.
Exactly, yes.
And this is why it's important that as a man starts to age,
Besides, testosterone is a familiar hormone that's produced from the testicles. Anabolic steroids are synthetic derivatives, and they have a plethora of a side effect. Testosterone is not toxic under 200 milligrams, okay? Zero toxicity to the liver. It's another thing, the oral testosterone, the methyl testosterone.
that's a different story.
Yes.
Methyl testosterone. So we're talking about bioidentical testosterone replacement. So,
Or even injectable, okay?
so what is the truth then behind testosterone and building muscle fast? What
So
is?
testosterone fast.
I mean, does
We should know that if we want a fast, if we have a fast perception to this, could be unhealthy.
okay? Let's talk about the natural person. Okay, the natural
Okay, the
person.
physiology of testosterone, how it increases muscle mass, is by two mechanisms. It kicks aldosterone, sodium, and water retention because 70% of the skeletal muscle is water. That's why we get bloated, because intramuscular water is rushed with anabolic steroids and testosterone. And the other one is increasing muscle tissue, okay, by nitrogen retention, okay, by eating extra protein.
Right.
We need to assimilate more protein. We need to consume more protein that gets assimilated with testosterone and anabolic steroid, okay? So this is the basic mechanism, along with the stimulus, which is resistance training, okay?
So, I lost my train of thought then. The natural testosterone, you have a young person, let's say they're 18, 19, they have a naturally high level of testosterone. Will they have a naturally higher level of muscle mass? As
Not
a result?
necessarily. You need to train. I had a patient in the harm reduction field that was nothing with 800, yet he was out of shape because he didn't advantage it.
So he had very
didn't
little
get it.
natural muscle mass, because the thought is when you enter puberty, as from a child through puberty,
Yes.
then you have a natural increase in muscle mass, which is normal daily activity
But you need to work out, okay? And you need to consume extra protein
to get the muscle fast.
with an
Otherwise,
800 natural testosterone compared to somebody else that tries his bust his ass, let's say, with 300 testosterone.
so what's the highest testosterone level you've seen in a natural person?
900.
Okay. I've
His
seen-
sex drive was supreme.
and,
I
S-
know that in first hand.
and SHBG, normal?
I have no idea about it, but the total
Okay.
testosterone was perfect. And he told me that I'm having a great time with my girlfriend. But I'm going to say he was skinny, but he cannot the body of I have with 900 exogenous testosterone because I trained 30 years.
I see. So, George, you've trained for 30 years. If you can go back in time, at what point would you consider using TRT in your bodybuilding journey, if at all?
Well, because I'm honest and sincere, if I go back in time, I wouldn't touch steroids.
Okay.
But there's a flip side to every coin. What I'm doing now is anti-aging.
Yeah.
And if I had now low testosterone because of natural causes, perhaps it would be inevitable for me going to the TRT. All right. However, we know that TRT is very, I would say, demanding, and you have to be very consistent to that. All right, it's a lifetime process.
Why do you think young people turn to anabolic steroids? Because of the myth, or because of the belief that testosterone will give you more muscle
And
faster?
this, because of other issues, perhaps insecurities, okay, because they're very ambitious in the vanity thing. All right, now we can ask why the new generation is of lower testosterone rather than the generation of our fathers and our fathers of their grandfathers. And as Ron McLean says, and Rick Collins also, is the xenoestrogens, the stress, the sedentary lifestyle, the poor nutrition, okay,
Yep.
that leads eventually to the extinction of the male.
Yes, that's what he did say. He did say in the last video. You can watch the video above. We'll put a link into the video. So getting back to the truth about testosterone and building muscle. So we know that if you have an optimal level of testosterone naturally, and you exercise and eat properly, you'll build muscle.
Yes,
muscle
up to a
mass.
certain point, your recovery will be good, your sex drive will be good, your self-esteem will be good, and according to your genetic profile, you'll build a decent body, okay, but not the body that you dream of in the magazine, the bodybuilding magazines that have used for years testosterone and anabolic steroids and perhaps growth factors. Okay.
And then finally, as we are at this fitness expo, and it's about fitness, there'll probably be many people here who, because of the stigma attached to testosterone and muscles, I mean, it's always hard to shake this stigma, isn't it? And I guess what would you tell a young person that's looking to get into fitness, exercise, bodybuilding? What would you tell them if they're considering, PEDs or anabolic steroids?
To have a healthy approach, okay, take it to the limit of your natural levels, okay, and reach your genetic potential in first place. Use all of the supplements, diet, 48 weeks per year, okay? It's a lifestyle. Train consistently every month, every week. Safer, okay, under the guidance of an open-minded physicians with lab work always. Otherwise, someday you're gonna become rusty sooner than what is expected, and you're gonna pay the dues of your vanity.
Yeah.
So there is a healthier approach, but the zero risk is don't touch them.
The best option is not to engage in that, and there's so much pressure on younger men, especially, to look a certain way, to look like the Instagram posts.
You know, Michael, the steroids are for the lazy ones, the ones that are not busting their butts and they're not dieting hard, okay, and they're fine for a shortcut.
So, do you think, and I often thought this, that those who are looking for the muscle mass, that besides the body dysphoria or dysmorphia that one has, perhaps these young men who aren't making the progress in the gym are the ones who may also have low testosterone? I mean, and I suppose if they want to know, they can get a blood test to find out where the levels are. So what I'm saying is, if you're not gaining, like your peers are making all the muscle mass and your peers are all natural, and you're that one lone person in the gym that might have other issues besides not gaining muscle mass. You might have a lack of libido, difficulty maintaining an erection, and you notice you can't put on the muscle mass. Perhaps there is a true problem of hypogonadism that hasn't been diagnosed.
However, as I say, testosterone is not about the gains or the sex drive, but it's also a metabolic regulator. So without testosterone, you have depression, anemia, osteoporosis, muscle wasting, visceral fat, inflammation. So it's a metabolic thing rather than a vanity thing, okay? But yet it's necessary to have a good sex drive for good self-esteem, and also a good body composition to be healthy, but also be confident.
So it looks like, as a summary from this video, is if you're naturally blessed and you have optimal or high levels of testosterone, more than likely, if you do all the right things, you will be able to gain muscle mass faster than if you've got lower testosterone levels.
Sure, there's no doubt about it, but according to your genetic profile, okay, as long as you're natty. So you have 800 of testosterone, SHBG, let's say, of 30, and a pretty good free testosterone over 50%. Yes, you're going to make good gains, But let's say you're not going to have the gains of somebody who's ejecting to 50.
Of course. All right. Well, there we go. So that's our version of what's the truth behind testosterone and muscle mass. We've often answered it on our website. We know that muscle mass and testosterone are linked, and having optimal levels of testosterone can link to optimal levels of muscle mass. And it's not in any way to condone the use of PEDs or anabolic steroids for gaining that. It's just a simple conversation.
Yet we have to know that PEDs and anabolic steroids have implementation in medicine, and they were made in first hand by physicians to treat centers, diseases, and cure symptoms, all right? So they're not made for athletes.
They're made for sick patients. So
Exactly.
They're made for women with bone fracture.
Under certain diseases and moderate doses, okay?
Fine.
Is
So
anemia, muscle wasting or cachexia, osteopenia, osteoporosis, and hypogonadism.
absolutely. So that's the topic covered on, what's the truth behind testosterone and muscle mass. So if you have questions or comments about testosterone and muscle, leave those below in the comments, and we will see you next time. So thanks for watching.